Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing this special edition Wrangler. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith Dodge Ram here in American Fork, Utah for giving me some time with this Wrangler. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. I'll also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering this is the 4xe. It's a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid that goes through an 8-speed. The MPGe rating is 49. The MPG rating, so without hybrid assist, 20 miles per gallon. And this can go 22 miles on a charge. Produces 375 horsepower and then 470 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, first things first, this particular exterior paint color is 41, military themed, of course. You've got the decal there with the 41 logo. You can see it says 4xe Willys on the side. You still got the blacked out growth of Willys. This comes with the upgraded steel bumper, which looks cool. The coolest part is the retro style wheels, I think. I mean, look at that. Of course, you got all-terrain tires with that. You've got rock rails with this as well. Body painted fender flares and hardtop. Look how cool that looks. Again, it definitely has that kind of old school Jeep look. And then you do have an upgraded rear bumper as well, steel in the back. Spare tire. Looks cool. And then I don't think they changed. Oh yeah, they did. They gave you a custom decal there, which is nice. So, cool looking so far. And then if we pop inside, it's pretty much normal Jeep all over the door panel, but you do get these tan seats, cloth, interestingly enough. And then this is different here on the dash. See across as well. And then it says 41 there on the shifter. And then you notice we've got a 2-speed transfer case, rear locking, differential, off-road plus, heated seats, heated steering wheel as well. You got the top insulation with this. So quite a bit of kit. And this leads us to the, well, also charging port on the side. This leads us to the pricing. Some of you guys are going to be in for some sticker shock. So this package is $9,235. We also have some other packages added to it as well. $70,050 for this. I can already imagine the comments. 70 grand for a Jeep with cloth seats. 70 grand for a Willys. 70 grand for a 4-cylinder. Let's see how it performs. Okay, let's set off in this $70,000 Willys, and I think we should take this as a chance to talk about Jeep because I love Jeep. We'll start with that. We'll start with why I love Jeep. I sold the product for 3 years, and my grandparents, when they retired back, they retired back in the 90s. They bought 2 vehicles for their retirement. My grandpa was a big Mopar guy, and they were both Cherokee. Well, one was a Grand Cherokee and one was a Cherokee with the inline 6s. I think they both had the inline 6. I can't remember. Regardless, they bought 90s Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, and they put hundreds of thousands of miles on them. Absolutely loved them. And so, like, I've always kind of, like, whenever I think of, man, that person came in fast. That kind of scared me. Whenever I think of, like, rugged off-road SUV, I think Jeep. I don't think Bronco. I don't think, Defender. I don't think Land Cruiser. I think Jeep. Sorry, let me just adjust this a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know. I really do like the brand. And I had a 392 Wrangler for a couple of years. But I think stuff like this, as cool as it is, I think this shows either how Jeep has their hands tied behind their back and they're not able to do what they actually want to do, or that they have completely lost touch with what people are looking for. But before we summarize that, let's talk about how this drives with this package. With the cloth seats, they're pretty darn comfortable. They're not going to be as comfortable as the leather seats. Just with how the cloth is stretched over the pads, it's a little bit firmer, but it's not uncomfortable by any means. Being 4xe, you've got the hybrid, which is cool. The one thing I don't like about the plug-in hybrid is the powertrain feels slightly disconnected, because it is. It's two different powertrains. So you kind of get a little bit of lag when you go into the throttle sometimes, but not the worst. And then also when you're like full throttle, it doesn't feel like the power figures suggest. It feels good, but that's all hybrids and plug-in hybrids. They never feel as powerful as what they have on paper. So there is that. But I will say, I love this theme. I think they did a really good job, especially the exterior. It looks like when you see this in person, it looks really cool. It's like, it's a new Wrangler, but Wrangler already has retro styling, but then it's like it's like double retro. It's cool. So I think in terms of like the aesthetics on this package, they actually did a really good job with it. And if you're unfamiliar with the new Wranglers, they drive really well. They've got a really comfortable suspension, again, for what this is. A body on frame, solid axle, convertible SUV. The noise insulation's pretty good for what it is. Again, this power isn't bad. It just doesn't feel like 375 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. So yeah, for a Wrangler, this drives well. So, Jeep, out of touch. This is $70,000. Now, I think it's a nice rig. I think it looks great on the outside, and I think it drives well for a Jeep. But who's gonna pay $70,000 for what is essentially, I mean, does it even have, yeah, no front camera, for what is essentially, and somewhat, it's not fully base model, but like a more entry, man, this GoPro doesn't want to stay in my head. But essentially a more like baseline version of the Wrangler. As I was saying, $70,000 for this is a lot of money. I mean, most people are gonna look at this and go, cloth seats, manual seats, not even a Rubicon, and you want something, right? So, and this is why I say I feel like Jeep has lost touch. I don't think that, again, I don't know if it's because Jeep's hands are tied or what's happening here, but I don't think they realize what Jeep people want, and also just the general market. There's a huge gap in the market right now for reliable, more affordable, durable, off-road capable SUVs. Man, that's good. The example that I always give is the car that I currently own, the Ineos Grenadier. That is a new car from New Car Company, and they're actually, for being a new car from New Car Company, they're actually selling quite well. And you wouldn't expect that because it's not cheap by any means. And so it's like, there's so much potential for Jeep to do much better in the market, and it's not this. Like, I think this package would make all the sense on a 392, because someone who's buying a 392 is already willing to spend more money on the Jeep. This is so annoying. I'm gonna have to fix this after I'm done with this video. Anyways, someone buying a 392 is willing to spend the money. But outside of that, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I think that Jeep should look at what they were selling in the 90s and in the 2000s. Again, they weren't perfect, but those are the most beloved Jeeps, I would say. I mean, people do like stuff after that. Like, again, 392 Wrangler is really cool. But when you ask a Jeep person, like, hey, what's your favorite? And a lot of people say, oh, like a, you know, early 2000s Wrangler. Early 2000s, late 90s Cherokee or Grand Cherokee. And you look at those vehicles, and what was it? Well-built, affordable, not perfect, but pretty darn reliable, rugged, off-road capable SUVs. Now Jeep is like, it's, you know, they're luxury, and they're building this fancy stuff. And like, again, this is really cool. I just don't think it's what Jeep people are looking for. And so what this should be, instead of what it is it should be a, you know, if they're going to make it based, like if they're going to do this retro package, okay, fine, you can put the Pentastar V6 in it. Put the Pentastar V6 in this, make it bare bones basic, and it shouldn't be 70 grand, it should be like 40 grand, right? So that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. Let me know if you agree. And obviously everyone is always like, oh yeah, cheaper cars, but like, I think I'm being realistic with what people would be kind of expecting. This thing, with what people would be expecting. I do think it's realistic. Like, with the pricing in today's market, and all that. I don't know. I do think this thing's cool, however, and I still love Jeep. I just think that they've lost their ways by trying to become a luxury brand. They shouldn't have ever gone down that route, in my opinion. They should have just stuck with what they were doing in the 90s and in the 2000s. Building cars, they had some luxury features, but building cars that were just durable and looked cool. Like, this looks like a tank. And, you know, sure, like, it's still button frame, solid axles and everything, but it's got this hybrid engine under the hood, 2-liter 4-cylinder. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I'm also just like, Jeep, why? You have such a cool product. You could go places. Give us less of this. Give us more this, but also kind of different.